Hello, everyone. We are live. Yes, we are very much live. Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to this much awaited session for the Campus Insider. I am Sanika Mate, your friend, your mentor, and your guide, welcoming everyone to this particular much awaited session. All of you have been asking about IIM Bangalore, how exactly the program is. And here we are talking about it in detail, making sure that you all know about this particular program. Okay, so before we start the details, I have some exciting guest for you here. We have someone who is in the corporate workforce himself. So all my students or all my viewers, I would not, kind of, we are students for life. We keep on learning. But, aspirants who want or who have that particular hesitation in their mind that I'm in the workforce, is that really the right program for me? It is the right program for you because we have someone who's in the workforce. We have someone who has a startup by himself. Okay, what else? And we have someone who is a student. So, as promised, we are making sure that we give you all the possible variety. But before we go ahead and start further, we would wait a little while. We would see how our students joining in because I don't want to kind of start with the information and then realize that a lot of you have missed it. Okay, so we will wait a little bit and then we would start. Till then, it would be really nice for all of you to tell me in the chat box if you all are aware about the IIM Bangalore DBE admission process. Okay, this is very, very important for me because if you all are aware, then I would not go ahead and do that particular explanation because you all are aware. Okay, but in case if some of you are not clear with it, you want to know the eligibility, you want to know the entrance test, you want to know the deadlines, then I definitely want to make sure that I take you all through it. Okay, Pushkar says that he's aware of it. Good job. I'm glad that you're aware of it. Okay, it's just that you should be. If you are aiming at something, then you should know about the details. But I'm sure when you are on YouTube, it will be a live which would stay for the others to kind of go through. I want to make sure that I do justice with the other students as well and make sure that they are aware of this particular process in terms of how they go about applying for it. If you know it and right now you're watching it, it will just be a good to know information for you. All right. So it's already 12 fun. Let's not wait anymore and let's start with the session. Okay. Welcome everyone to the Campus Insider with our students from the IIM Bangalore DBE. All these students are for the second year. All of you who have missed the session with Suresh sir, where we have discussed about the IIM Bangalore program, what exactly it offers, how exactly you really, what exactly the program offers. You all can check this particular session here. It will give you all the details. Okay. I have a lot of questions for them. So if you don't know the format, it's very simple. I have a lot of questions, okay, which I would be asking them. But just in case if you have anything which you have in your mind and you want to ask, just make sure you're putting it in the chat box and we will be picking it up. Okay. So make sure you're letting your friends know, let them know, just inform them that the session is on because trust me, one of the very good programs if you're looking at dual degree, if you want to upskill yourself, something which you want to make sure even for the peer learning, this would be a fantastic program. Okay, so let's go ahead with the information. We will start the program information mainly with basic. First, you need to know your basics, as we keep on saying, and you need to go back to your basic. And here we would go back to our basic with the information about the program. Okay, so we are going here with the IIM Bangalore. This is the session what we are doing. Now, IIM Bangalore, the Campus Insider, it is something which is a very, very renowned. I mean, it is something which people dream about, the IIM Bangalore. Okay. And if you get a degree, amazing. It nothing can be better than this. Okay. But let's understand what exactly the IIM Bangalore BBA DBE program is all about. Okay. It's a UG program. It is one of the first program which the IIM Bangalore launched. Okay, from them, this was the first UG program which was launched. It is equivalent to a 3-year BBA. It was launched, as I said, in 2024. All right. It's a digital and entrepreneurial focus where the curriculum blends seamlessly with business tech and the startup skills. Fantastically, exit options are available. It is compliant with the NEP. So if you go for the first year, you get a certificate, second year diploma, and with the third year, you will be getting yourself a degree. The admission is merit based, and as I keep on saying, fantastic option that there is no interview. So a lot of you are scared of the interview. Here there is no interview. However, it will be based on the entrance scores of CUET and JEE. However, they also have their own entrance test. Okay, so in case if you are someone, let's say if you are in the workforce, you want to upskill yourself and you don't have the opportunity or you have not applied for either of it, okay, don't worry, we will provide you information about the IIM Bangalore DBE entrance test, how you go about it, all the details will be provided. It's very affordable IIM education because this whole year will only cost you around 4.5 lakhs, okay, and waivers are available for the reserved category. Now let's look at something in terms of eligibility criteria, basic. Again, let's get back to basic. You need to have your pass certificate from a recognized board. Class 12, a minimum of 60% is required. So if you are someone who have cleared 12th with a 60%, you are good to go there. For the other categories, it's 55. You need to be an Indian citizen. So for now, this particular program is for the Indian citizens, and the admission route is from IIM Bangalore DBE entrance test, or you can submit your other scores of CUET GAT, which is the GAT, or the JEE main scores. Okay. Now let's look at the admission, the entrance test. Again, as I mentioned, the IIM Bangalore DBE entrance test. This particular entrance test is somewhere between easy to moderate. It is not that difficult. So if you are someone who is away from the education for a long time and now suddenly get that feeling of, yes, I want to upskill myself, for the peer group, for upskilling yourself, or just to have that particular degree with you from an IIM, then you can go through this particular entrance test. It is easy to moderate, and it is something which is definitely doable, worth definitely giving a shot. Okay. You will have to submit for the others, for the students who have appeared for the JEE mains and the CUET, the scores need to be valid. Okay. Now that's about the information for the entrance. Okay. So all the information, and most importantly, I don't really want to miss that. If you're really looking forward to do it, which you should after going through the session, which we have done with Suresh sir, and right now listening to our students, the deadline for this particular program is the 30th of June. The entrance test will be on the 26th of July. Okay, so for the students who understands 26th July, the Mumbai students, okay, but just coming to the focus part of it, 26th July, so you would not forget. That's the reason why I kind of mentioned 26th July. People who don't know, but there was 26th July, one time we had this big flood in Mumbai. And I think 26th July is something which, as Mumbaikar, we relate to that particular flood. But I hope with this, you remember now that the entrance test is on the 26th of July, and the deadline to apply for this is the 30th of June, only up till 3 p.m. Don't consider it up till the midnight, only up till the 3 p.m. We have a form filling video. Okay, so the form filling video will be posted soon in the chat box. You can just save the link and make sure that you just go back and follow that particular steps. Now, a lot of information already provided, a lot of you. So basically the main introduction part, let's just move there. A lot of you are aware of everything now. That's what I can understand going through the information. So let's start with the information here. Let's start understanding what is the program all about. We are mapping the journey. Last year we did the session. We came to know that this is something the students are in good hands, and that's what we came to know. And now today when we would be speaking, I think that thing would be furthermore confirmed. Okay, so without any further ado, let's start with the introduction here. But here I would not go ladies first. I would actually start with the seniority. Okay, so we have somebody who is in the workforce, starting with Avinab, then Aman, and then we would come to Rashmika here. So starting with you, Avinab, can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, sure. So, hello everyone. I'm Avinav Mukhya. To most of you, I'm probably an ancient fossil at this point because I was born in the year 1995. So, there is that. But outside of that, and I'll take a page from one of our professors, right? And I'll say that, I work as the director of client success for Snapscale IIM, and I'm also a first year third term student for IIM Bangalore DBA DBE. And outside of work, I'm a professional overthinker. So, I'm not going to go more. If there's more questions, we can always obviously delve deeper into it. But for now, I'll just keep it that way. Otherwise, if I keep on talking, this is just going to be like a 45-minute one-way issue. So, yeah.
uh, it was nice to listen, from somebody from like a fossil. But yes, I'm sure that the people of a similar kind of, profile, Avinav, or who are at the similar space what you are in right now, they would be able to relate to you. Aman, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey guys, this is Aman. I'm currently a second year student at IIM Bangalore DBE, and apart from this, I'm also building my own startup called as Club now. So over my college years and everything, I've been trying to build a lot of startups previously also, and I'm in serious enthusiasm into turning ideas into reality, right? But a surprising fact, Clapnum is something which I started after entering DB with my co-friends of DB and Bangalore DB. So this degree has a huge upside potential. I would love to say and speak more about it during the whole conversation. Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to talk to you as well. Yes, last but not the least, Rashmika, can you please introduce yourself?
So hi, this is Rishmika. I'm a first year undergraduate from BBA DBE. I'm also doing this as a dual degree. So I'll be sharing my insights. How do I manage two academically heavy subjects in my daily life? Not just that, I'm also an active participant in most of the national level competitions. As a student life is a very critical point that we have. So I will be sharing insights about my own life, how it looked like inside a dual degree student.
Lovely. That's exactly what we want to know from you, Rashmika. Okay, let's first understand the main reasons. Okay, when we talk about an IIM Bangalore, the first thing or immediately people, the first reaction is, wow. Okay, so ABC, B stands for Bangalore, right? That's how it goes. So when you decided to go ahead with this particular program, I want to know from you, Avinav. I'm very curious to understand. Students definitely they can think of doing the program. You need to have that appetite of handling two programs. But being in the workforce now, what exactly was your thought process and why you decided on doing this particular program?
Yeah, so I actually came upon this program totally by chance, right? So I was browsing Reddit, and then there's this unofficial in a subreddit. And then I was like, I just got a bit curious. And then, I just went to the site and I was like, yeah, the subject seems good. And I was like, let's give the entrance exam. At that point, I had not studied for 10 years. So, it was like, my brain was like, hey, what are you doing? But still, somehow, so the first thing was finding about the program, passing the exam. That was the first thing. Then I had a conversation with my CEO who was like, you should definitely go and continue your education because I didn't have a degree yet. And then, obviously, it does not need to be said that it's IIM Bangalore. Naam to suna hi hoga, right? I mean, everyone knows. IIM to IIM ho, those kind of things are there. So, yeah, I would say that's the thing.
Okay. Uh, I would kind of come back because I have some follow-up
Mhm.
questions on that, but I want to understand the reasons for the others as well. Aman, you are a founder of a startup. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is also being incubated with IIM Bangalore. What
Yeah.
exactly triggered for you? What were your reasons to join the program?
So what I had to exactly say in terms was like, this is my secondary degree, right? I've graduated from my primary degree in CRIS in 2025. So my perspective of why I joined IIM Bangalore is like, I have gone through the traditional degree perspective where there are classes, there is learnings. I'm not going to say it is not going to be there, but when it was into IIM Bangalore, things were a bit more practical, right? And one of the biggest reasons I had tried to join IIM Bangalore was because I'll be meeting like-minded people, people who are actually driven into building startups. I feel like out of the 1,000 students, almost 400 to 500 people are eager to gain more knowledge. They are here to come and they want to learn a lot. They want to build their own startups in the future. So this is a place where passionate people have all come together. So that turned out to be an amazing thing for me. For my second startup, all of my founders are all from IIM Bangalore DBE. So it was worth the shot. That is what I have to say.
It
It
was
was
worth the
more about the
shot.
network. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, Rashmika. Uh, See, for a student, getting into a graduation degree is overwhelming. Okay. But this is something which I keep on asking the questions at this particular juncture. When you decide, that you want to juggle two degrees. So many of my students actually cry doing their one degree. I'm sure during your time, Aman, you must have experienced the same. You have picked up a lot on your plate. What was your thought process going for two degrees simultaneously?
The trigger that I want to learn from the scholarly professors was always there with me. But I couldn't make it because of the geographical barriers. But the dream to get into IIM was there always, but getting to Bangalore was not a feasible solution in my case. But then comes this online degree. Because it's online, it was possible for me. I feel like this course is exactly crafted for my ambition because I get opportunities to learn from the scholarly professors. Second, this is a very future oriented course. Like most of the things that you will be learning inside the course is more towards digital business, and everything is a futuristic curriculum that you learn. So I feel an entrepreneur ambition, aiming for the future world, has to learn all this new advantages and technological tools. That's my second input that I wanted to learn. Thirdly, it is towards entrepreneurship and learning entrepreneurship from I am what next I need to think about this. So I feel like this entire course is crafted for me, and I'm so lucky to get in my period because I'm also doing my undergraduate in BBA as my other degree in general management. So I feel like everything is syncing together and the course is being crafted for me. So why not to take it? What is there to neglect this opportunity? There is nothing for me to neglect it.
Absolutely. I mean, see, it's definitely, I would say for this age, it's definitely a bold step. But yes, we will talk more about it. Now, my question to you, specifically you, Aman and Avinav, would be, see, this particular program, you have already, like, you have graduated, right? Both of you. Now, tell me something, when you are right now rerunning the BBA program, how exactly it is different from the traditional BCom and the BBAs of the world? Starting with you, Aman, starting with you.
Got it. So if you had to ask me what was different from a traditional degree was, there was this mixed spice of an entrepreneurship that had come in, right? Till now, it was all about understanding what is core marketing principles and everything. That is there in the syllabus forever. But now, when that is tied up with entrepreneurship, you exactly start thinking in a way like, how are you going to be utilizing those principles into your own startup? So I feel the entrepreneurship thing is something that was a very insightful thing for me because, I am a founder who is trying to figure out stuff on myself, but having somebody who is trying to aid you in that journey is something, pretty much useful for me also. That was a pretty great perspective. And the example and case studies that IMB has piled up during this course and the degree, that was something which was worth looking into because that was making us connect with actual businesses rather than just trying to learn the concepts. So, yeah.
All right. Avinav, what about you? Going back to the studies and doing this, was it different? How?
So, I would like to do a minor correction. I didn't have an undergraduate degree. So I started with the workforce when I was like 26. In terms of going back, I think the main thing was, or you would say that what would be different, right? Because yes, I knew what was different then when I was, supposedly college aged going kid. I would say, like I think Aman and Reshmika have already, covered most of it. But the thing is, I saw the curriculum, right? I mean, if you look at it, the first thing that actually stood out to me was the 250 rupees venture, and I was like, "What's this? Like, what is this?" Right? And the curiosity got better of me, and then it is what it is right now.
The 250 rupees venture, yes, even I have heard about it and was, actually that made me excited as well. So a lot of you who are not aware, anybody can give a little sneak peek about the 250 rupees venture. Who would want to do that? Come on, go ahead.
I would love to do that because this is something I had done, and there was a pretty amazing takeaway from that. So okay, so one of our projects was a 250 rupees venture where we, with a budget of 250 rupees, you have to build your own startup or basic idea or a general outline of things, and you actually have to make money out of that. So that was the end goal for me. So, I mean, me being there, I didn't even try to put in at 250 rupees. I just tried to start it with a zero thing. I tried to pile up with my connections, started reaching out to companies. And then I told them that I will try to help you find interns who actually work for your organization. Right. And for each intern I try to hire, you pay me a specific amount out of it. And you also provide a specific stipend for the money and everything. So, me trying to build college, that was a pool of students altogether. I was able to find the talent and I practically matched both of his expectations out of it. I was just the mediator who was supplying interns to them. And practically I made almost 15,000 out of it. And that's a pretty
Oh,
crazy
it was
experiment.
it definitely worked for you,
Yeah,
must say. Uh,
yeah.
I think Rashmika was mentioning about the zero rupee venture also.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have zero rupee venture. There, with the investment of zero, with a given time constraint of 4 hours, we have to generate a revenue and profit. Of course, it will be a profit. So, what I did, I was trying a lot of ways like conducting workshops because I also have my art venture in my other side. So, I was trying to do something for my art venture. But that was not happening because I had the time constraint. With the 4 hours, creating an artwork is not possible. So I shifted. This is not the right way. So I just pivoted to some other ways. I discovered so many channels, but then I landed up doing cultural workshops for summer season for both moms and daughters as a due on online. Again, that was giving me around 5,000 rupees of profit because we had around 20 people joining in for this cultural workshop because people are most interested for their kids to teach all of these stuffs. So that was a very profitable thing. But that's not the actual learning. The actual learning is that I get to know what all potential earning ways are already waiting for me. I can just use it anytime in my life because of the project that was in discovery for myself in this journey. So that is what I have learned in this zero rupee venture. Each person has their own story on this, but 250 rupee venture was the first thing given for us, but zero rupee was even more interesting for us to do.
I think my next question is answered here. I wanted to ask all of you whether it is more academically, inclined or it is more practical learning. I just got the answer that you guys are, it's somewhat more practical, hands-on,
Exactly.
you know, studies what you're doing, which is very good because you don't really get these challenges. And unless
That's the highlight about the BBA. Over here, you don't just get the textures or theoretical knowledge. Here, you get frameworks which are really applicable in the real world. For example, if you're going through any of the courses, even if you're incomplete with the courses, the knowledge that you have gained so far can be applied. That is what the reality looks inside because everything is curated in such a way it is industry ready and applicable in nature. So, because the ultimate aim of the course is also to make you ready to do your own venture. So, in that case, every framework, every course is curated in applicability basis, and that's what we are doing in the projects as well. Projects is just a streamline to test the knowledge on the applicability. So, that is the core background behind the scenes.
Amazing. Now tell me something. All of you are right now, looking at completing the 3 years. So is there something as a target in your mind which you want to kind of achieve by the end of 3 years? Starting with you, Avinav, what exactly is your thought process by the end? What are you looking at achieving?
Yeah. So I think, you know, I'll give a very simple answer, right? So it is either a 33-year-old me without a degree or a 33-year-old me with a degree. So, I think that there's no downside there. And obviously, in terms of the goals and everything, it's always to learn so that, you can at least, for us working professionals, right? I mean, at a certain point in our life, we just want to make a better, life for ourselves and our families. So, that's pretty much what it is.
Okay. Aman,
Um,
graduate now, end of 3 years. I'm hoping your answer would somewhere have that, the startup is kind of booming, but beyond that, what exactly you want from this degree?
yeah. I mean, apart from that, one of the major things I've come across with the whole degree is like, even me, I don't understand everything, right? So the curriculum is designed in such a way that people will start learning about what all VC is, what is equity, which is never taught out in any other places, right? And practically, we also understand crisp of financial understanding, the terms, the shareholder stuff, and everything. So this degree will help me equip with the knowledge of an overview. Like I do get the fact that I'll be working on a startup, but I'll be getting knowledge which would be more useful for me in the upcoming future. So of course, that is
Absolutely. Now, uh, Rashmika, you are juggling 2 degrees.
So as a student, I have just twofold objective. One, I have my venture in a very small scale. I have to scale it, and it should become a proper brand in the end of the 3 years. And secondly, of course, I'm planning for PG. So scores are also matter in a student's life. So I have to focus more on academic sides as well. So academically being successful and successful in my entrepreneurial journey is my twofold objective.
Okay. Now let's understand, you know, about how is what exactly you are being taught. Okay. Uh, in the first, second years, what exactly as to make sure that you kind of get the understanding of the degree in terms of entrepreneurship, digital business, what exactly is being taught? Starting with you, Avinav, can you tell me topics which are being covered here?
Yes. So, I think the most memorable one for anyone who starts coming in is going to be creativity. And then it might also be persuasive communication. And then there's design thinking. And then there are like some dreaded subjects, like so there is the statistics one, which will stay with you for quite a while. And then there is management accounting and accounting. So, if you hate maths, you know, uh, it's going to be a bit harder, but it's not something that is not manageable. So then there's also like history of entrepreneurship itself. So, I think there's a lot, I mean, right now I'm having a senior moment. So, perhaps I don't remember all of those things, but you can definitely go to this website and look at all the courses that are there. And then, you can pretty much, make up your mind if it looks interesting. To me, it looks interesting.
Okay. Aman, anything you would like to add? And Rashmika, and either of you would like to add anything?
I mean, pretty much Avinav has covered the whole thing, but there are a few subjects like creativity and innovation, design your thinking. These unlock the potential about how you think, what your perspectives are, and everything, which is something I actually love doing that because when you start asking a lot of questions in your brain on how to solve a specific problem, you do the RCA and you unlock a lot of other things. So this is a fun learning. I mean, of course, the course was a banger. Yeah.
In my case, to equip you with entrepreneurship, they have packed you with a lot of subjects. As I said, we have typical subjects like marketing fundamentals and accounting. But the thing to highlight here is, as I'm a dual degree student, I can clearly distinguish the traditionality and the innovation in this course. The framework, the curation of the course is designed in a way that you can apply. Even the marketing fundamentals, I have learned the same subject in my other degree, but here it differently sounds. It's very eye opening for me about the field of marketing, about the branding, about the positioning. Of course, as both of them mentioned, creative mindset and design thinking are most talked in courses in the BBA, and I'm sure everybody will love that. Apart from that, most value added courses, in my perspective, we have persuasive communication, because as I said, I'm participating in a lot of competitions, especially in startup competitions and case forms. For me as a student, giving presentations, I need skills of persuasiveness. There will be subjects that teach you how to communicate in a manner that you can persuade your panelists, how you can give presentations in a corporate scenario. So a lot of subjects are there to equip you completely to become an entrepreneur or to enter the corporate world.
Okay. Now, understanding what exactly you guys are learning, somewhere I was not able to hear about the AI because that is something which is which is the next thing which is making us further further lazier. I mean, people who are in the workforce, Abhinav would kind of understand what I'm kind of referring to, and people who are watching would understand that how AI is making us, or rather, just it's just making things easier, but that's going to be the future. Okay, it will be so. But is this particular program kind of covering that aspect as well, Aman?
Yeah, pretty much. Because AI is something which you can't evade anymore. That is something that is gonna, you need to have a learn about it. You need to learn about it, and that is how you're gonna excel in the upcoming future. I mean, of course, you get a lot of opportunities, but to me, one of the major things where we had utilized AI was when we were trying to build our own websites and everything, right? You have to understand a lot of stuff. Like one of our assignment was totally that we have to build a website for one of the shopkeepers or somebody out there. We had to go speak to them, and then we do get it. We did have a lot of classes and everything, but the AI gives you an upper edge where you understand things and you execute it better. So yeah, this also does have a pretty pure inclination towards AI.
Okay. Now, I think my next question also, Aman, would be for you. Okay. Uh, when it comes to the innovation, design thinking, we have been talking about that's what exactly you have been learning. Okay. And startup incubation. Is this properly emphasized, which helps you? I mean, for you, you are someone who's actually, into it. Is it something really helping you? I just want to put out there to be more confirmed and to be more, making sure that we are kind of double lining it. Is it something which is really covering and making sure that you have that skills which would help you further in your career?
Yes, 100%. Why I would say that is, honestly, when you start learning a new concept about creativity or innovation, right, you open up more perspectives on things. Your mind might know few things, right? You might have a way of thinking, but when you start going into it, like when you start understanding more concepts about, zone of control, zone of concern, and everything, your perspective about how you're gonna implement things in your own startup also increases as a whole, right? And of course, IMB incubation was one of the very big things that has happened to my platform because that gives you credibility. And it was such a, my incubation has supported me in such a way that, I had lots of tools which I could start using in my own platform, and we had the runway for the next 2 years without in a very hassle-free way. I was able to build my startup more confidently than ever. And every place we go, when we say that they are incubated at IMS Bangalore, that gives us a badge of, perfection, saying that these guys have built out something better than. So yeah, it is pretty much, I would not say 100% of everything, but you get to learn a lot because when you start thinking about it, your perspective about things change. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, my next question to all of you is something which kind of, makes people think and be a little greedy. Okay. Because you're doing this particular program. Now, this is an online program. Okay. But do you have the opportunity of interacting with the IIM Bangalore PGP and MBA students? I mean, have you got the opportunity to kind of network with them, speak to them with the immersive sessions which you have done?
So, I would say I'm more of an introvert, so not me, but I do know that there have been people in our peer group who have done that. So, if you want to, there are opportunities. It's just that, if you will take it or not. So, yeah.
Okay. Aman, are you doing the networking with the PGP and the MBA students?
So, I mean, honestly saying, it wasn't more inclined towards DB, but because of my startup incubation at IIM Bangalore, so there was an event that was happening in IMS students. So when the PGP students were planning on working on a project, right, they had to call in startups that were incubated in SRC and IIM Bangalore. So I got invited over there. I went into the classroom. I pitched about my idea. So they were trying to build a total business model canvas for me. I mean, that was a core learning even for them. So it was a double exchange. I was able to get and increase my network from the PGP students. Simultaneously, they also helped me find loopholes in my own startup, and I was able to do better in that. So that was a very good outcome. It was a 2 days thing where we went to the campus, we spoke to a lot of people, we interacted with them, and then it was a good experience for me.
Lovely. Rashmik, any stories from your end?
As a bachelor student, we have an interaction program with PGP people because we have campus impulsion program, which is Nova Unplugged. We have a dedicated session with them, hearing their stories inside IMD, hearing their cat experience and so on. So we had it. But apart from that, it's up to you or up to the people who want to network it. There are opportunities, but we have to use it. Like people are more welcoming in nature when you say that you are from IIM Bangalore. They will never neglect you in any case. So it's up to you how you utilize the opportunities that are awaiting for you.
Exactly. You know what you mentioned, I think Avinav kind of just did that with the dialogue that I am Bangalore, naam to suna hoga. You cannot unhear it if you are listening this particular brand. And I mean, whatever you all have mentioned, that kind of makes an assurance or kind of gives an assurance that the students who would be joining can actually look at a good networking apart even from the learning aspect. But again, something which I want to speak about the networking aspect. See, if you are joining any program, it is the initiatives you will have to take. It will not happen unless you take the initiative. If you sit and expect somebody to come and talk to you, that's not going to happen. So it's just consider this as, that you are in a swimming pool and you have to kind of move your hands. You have to be proactive. This is exactly what you call networking. It's an opportunity which you get. And if you get it, you just need to know how to make it gold because it can work in several fantastic manner. Okay, now let's talk about the learning. Okay, so this particular peer group, what we have, 1,000 seats is what we are looking at. We see a peer group which have a very range or absolute range of age groups, experienced people, and students who are absolutely just out of the oven, people who are absolutely fresh to a standard past. Tell me something, how exactly the peer learning is working amongst yourself? Is it because it's a 12 pass student first year speaking to somebody who has, let's say, 10 years experience? This definitely learning not only from the faculty, how I look at it, being on the other side of table and very much mapping or understanding this program because somewhere back of my mind I am considering myself. Okay, so I want to understand how exactly this works. Avinav, for you, what kind of peer learning is happening here?
I'll just first of all, when you mention peer learning, right? The one thing that I would say is, we do have initiatives, like we have an academic cell, and then we have something called learning pods. So in the learning pods, there's a group of 20 to 60 people. And, those are people like, who are helping you towards, mostly assignments and all of those things. And, the great thing that I see is, with this academic group, right? They, you know, organize, revision sessions before the exam. This is not the institute telling them do this. It's a student-led initiative. So with that said, right, I think if you want to, my answer is still the same. If you want to, there's a lot to learn. Uh, you know, you see peers, like you said, right? I mean, you see people who are there. who are doing great things, and then obviously there's some people who are just, not so-called normal. It's totally fine. As long as, you get what you are looking for, right? You don't need to learn everything. It's mostly, in terms of when you are coming in, what do you want, right? And it's okay if you don't even know that. Just go through it. The course itself, over a period of time, will help you, get more, I would say, you will learn more about yourself, I would say. And, obviously the professors are also very, I would say, helpful. They also interact with, the students if you want. If you want to see, the thing is here, right? The main message is like, if you want to, you'll get it. If you don't want to, then, you can bring a horse to the water, right? You cannot force it to drink. So, yeah.
I completely agree with that. I mean, where exactly is the status? Horse, water, what exactly are we referring to here?
I would say it's been an amazing experience for me because I come down to practicality that is happening here, right? I mean, I'm currently like 21-year old and pretty much I don't have the money to give out salaries or start building my own startup in such a huge thing. So one of the biggest help that I get from the people are from my peers who help me build this better, right? So most of the interns, some of the people who are actually coming to the founding team and everything, all of them are students and most of them are from IIM Bangalore because they carry perspectives. I might be good at one thing, I find a person who's actually equally great at some other thing. Then we both meet. When that is when a better fusion of outcomes come in, right? So practically everybody here has a different perspective on what they bring to the table, right? I had zero knowledge about how to build a technical stack and everything. We have a CTO who is from Bangalore. I have a person who has never. I'm a person who is not into fashion, who has zero fashion sense. But today I'm building a fashion brand in India because I found a person who is into fashion, right? So everybody out there has something that they are open to give, and we all have come together and they're able to build something huge out of it, right? So yeah, so the peers whoever come to the table, they are pretty much valuable than anything else. So network with them, meet them, and that is how you're gonna be building something amazing in the network part.
True. Yes, Rashmika, how exactly your learning is going on?
So basically, I'm glad these people are benefited out of academic cell because I'm serving as the general secretary for academic cell for batch two. So as said, we have academic cell which assist you with a lot of exam preparation, and we have learning pods. Again, I guess Avinav have mentioned it. It's a WhatsApp group community building basically. So you can just raise your doubts and it will be clarified max of max in 24 hours. Besides that, we have so many other communities like the people, especially this becomes a catalyst during the due dates and deadlines because everybody are pushing towards the pressure, so everybody work together. Even we have study sessions like joining all in a group call and doing all the projects together. It actually looks like how you do in the offline mode, just the platform is online. That's the only thing. So we do have the same group lessons and shared pressure that actually act as a catalyst for the community building in a student life, I can say.
Okay. Now, definitely the peer learning is at its peak, is what I can understand. Having said that, again, the learning would only happen if the student is proactive, as very well Avinath said. Okay, but I think at that particular juncture where he is, uh, and all the other aspirants, I think this is exactly what they would be looking at. Okay, so it all boils down to what you are looking out for as a student. Everybody joins any program with a certain agenda in mind. What is your agenda? And if that is, and what exactly are you doing to make sure that you are achieving that particular agenda? Okay, that point of why you joined. Now, whether it is peer learning, whether it is upskilling yourself, whether having a brand, whether it is just to experience, going back to college or just going back to studies. It can be anything what you would have. But for sure, this would be a program up till now. I've been time and again mentioning this is something which is definitely worth the time, the kind of experience what you can get from here. Having said that, now I have another question, which I think is a very integral part of other programs also. Now, if you look at colleges are making sure, or if you look at the other traditional programs, be it a BBA or a BCom or a BA, any program, there is a practical element which is there. IIM Bangalore DBE is taking it to another level. But is there any kind of an internship which, because it's an online program, I just want to understand if there is the element of internship which is still there here, and how exactly it is being taken care for the people who are working. I'm sure for them it would be different. Okay, starting with you, Rashmika, you are from that particular cell. Just give me a little bit more details in terms of internship element in this program.
So we have a quite an opportunity for this internship. Internships can be either self-sourced company, like you can just choose your own company. It is completely up to you. You have the complete freedom to do that. Secondly, we have NSR incubated startups. You can be with the founder, act as a shadow founder, spend your entire day with the founders. How you can now get to know how a startup operates. I guess the internship here add more value because you are there looking into every opportunities and every activities taken care. So we have NSR incubated startups. Thirdly, we have, if you have your own venture or startup, even that can be considered as an internship. So
Oh,
we have three different pathways to source your internship.
okay, so the internship is something, and if you're working, so or you have a startup, that is something which will be considered.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that kind of answers the question there. Uh, Coming to the other aspect of, you know, this particular program, and I think I did cover, I wanted to understand what are the opportunities for the student to launch their own venture during the course. Has anybody done that? Aman, apart from you, have you come across anybody who have launched their own venture? I mean, if you have any stories.
Multiple people. I would say we have over 20 to 25 startup enthusiasts who are trying to build something very passionately from batch one, right? And I've found almost 6, 7 startups that are incubated in Bangalore because of the campus founders program also. So people are picking up this, they're taking up the opportunities, and they're working on, two pretty amazing ideas out there. Some
Nice.
into healthcare, some into tech and deep tech. So yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Anything you would like to add, Avinav?
No, I think Aman covered everything on that.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about, see, it's an online program. All right. A lot of people who would be watching it would have this particular question getting into their mind that, how will I connect with my peers? Because when we look at a traditional system of education up till now, we know that every day we have to go to the college. We connect with students. We kind of connect with the people who sit beside us, who sit ahead of us on the bench. This is something, and that's how you kind of build your relation. And these are the people going ahead. When you start working, they become your soundboards. Okay. Tell me something. If we talk about uh, if you talk about the immersive sessions, because you need to have that connect with your peer group. They are the people who would be there, your soundboard, people whom you would go to for, for anything. What exactly the immersive sessions looks like in a year? How many immersive sessions you have attended? Avinav, if you can kind of just put a little, spotlight on that.
Well, I'm having a senior moment, as they say. So I think Aman and Rashmika could answer that better. But there are a lot of opportunities to connect with your peers, and it's like this, right? You don't need the campus to give you that. You can meet them yourselves because and we have like a dance group and everything. It's like, and they're from different cities, right? It's like, how did that happen? And it's not because of the campus, I'm pretty sure, right? It's like, again, you have to, lead the initiative yourself on that end. So,
Okay. So campus immersive sessions, Aman and Rashmika, can you give me a more detailed information on that? Aman?
Okay, so practically, I guess last year we had over 3 times of an opportunity to come to the campus and everything. There
Okay.
is Nova that keeps happening, and then there is Unmad that happens every year. That is like a crazy concert of all events where you come, team up, and you participate in a lot of events. And the whole time you can stay in the campus. And apart from that, you have concerts going on every single day in the evening. They bring out one of the best talents in the music in India, and you just enjoy the vibe with the students out there. That is one amazing thing. And then in Nova, I guess it is happening in, I mean, it is happening next week actually. Nova is happening the next week,
All
where
right.
we go to campus, we meet a lot of our folks. Then, there are a lot of sessions in it. I guess this time even Vaibhav Suchinta is coming, the founder of Growth School, and it is going to be a pretty great opportunity learning from him, right? So these sessions are built in such a way that you get to learn a lot new, and you also enjoy the day. I mean, there was a movie screening the last time where everybody was sitting there and they enjoyed the vibe with it. So yeah, it is like a packed of activities that lets you learn more and also lets you have fun. So the 2 3 days when you're gonna come here, have a blast with your batchmates here.
And what exactly, I mean, this sounds fun to me, but tell me, Rashmika, from you, I want to know what exactly the class profile looks like. How many
Class,
students are there? Yeah, class
yeah.
profile as in how many students are there, and you know, what exactly, what is the age groups for them?
So as Abhinav said, here we have all the avenues available, but it's up to you. You have to tap and pick it up. So for a live session, we have around 150 to 200 participants because it's up to their convenient to join on the scheduled time. So that's about the live session. For the class size, I can say even in my batch, we have. I heard that we have an ex-army officer and doctor and a working professional. So many are there, so around 60 percentage are students who are doing dual degree. Rest 40 percentage have the mix of standalone degree and students who are doing it with CA and CFAs and BBA together. And working professionals are also there. There are also people who have completed their PG and want to upskill themselves, like to take up their family business or something like that. They are also studying. So that is the pretty much class size that we have. But as it is an online program, every day is like a discovery channel for us because we meet new people, we interact. Even as Aman said, we have the Nova, which is happening on the next week. We have so many events, including the DJ night and other competitive events are there. Even we are now teaming up with people that we are not aware that they exist a week back. So something sort of newness is always there in this course. So I appreciate that because in a class, in a typical classroom, you have just 50 to 70 people and you know all the faces in and out about them. That's really boring. But here you just interact with people that you don't even know they exist. So that is something very new to encounter in such an online platform.
All right. So we have kind of covered everything here, but I'm very keen to know about the examinations. Okay. Everything goes hunky dory, looks absolutely beautiful when we are practically learning. We are doing internships, we are attending the immersive sessions. But I think we all somewhere as humans are scared of examinations. Okay. So, okay. Uh, it's something which still scares us even during the workforce. I think Avinav's smile speaks everything. Okay. Even in the workforce, even as a startup founder, when we know that we have to give an exam, gala sabka sukta hai. I want to understand how exactly the examination works here. And whoever wants to go first can actually, start with it. Everybody.
So here examination happens in a fixed exam center, mostly up to your proximity. But if not, you have to travel to the exam center. I guess people mostly comment that that is the greatest sport that we get inside BBA because we have to travel to the exam center and have a computer-based exam, which I really appreciate because as a dual degree student, my hands really ache a lot because of writing for papers and papers, but this computer-based examination is really a very convenient way for me in this case. So that is about how the exam will look like. More are towards MCQ-based exams, but don't judge it's because of MCQ. You have so many confusing options, and the question is framed in such a way that will definitely confuse you. And even batch one students can relate that the exam is completely unpredictable. Everything here inside IMB is always unpredictable. How much ever you can prepare, the question still sounds so new to you. So whatever preparation that you do, I don't think it will give you enough confidence because the exam is always unpredictable in whatever subject it is. Statistics is of course most top subject about this, but we have subjects apart from that as well.
Okay. So it is something which kind of gives you a little, very, very nice. Okay. But tell me,
Yeah.
is there anybody who have not really able to make, is there some concept of you getting fail? Do they
Oh, yeah,
have?
there are people who have failed statistics for multiple times, but there are some criterias and rules and regulations inside the program that you have to make it with fixed amount of time, or else it's not possible for you to continue the degree. But there are opportunities where you can strategically choose whether to appear or not, because as I said, people are pursuing like 60 percentage are doing it as a dual degree. So to make sure their exams are not clashing each other, we have windows open for the retakes, so you can choose accordingly. But yeah, people have failed, but they didn't exit because they are quite intelligent. Only intelligence can pass these exams, right? So they are doing it, but subjects are quite hard in nature, coming to few, not all. But it is doable. It's completely doable. See, I'm a non-math student. For me, statistics is a nightmare, but I did it. So it sounds like that, but yeah, you can do it.
Aman is smiling. Aman, please, I want to know the input. See, this is something which I've got from a student. Okay. A
Yeah,
student is saying that it is doable, who has been
yeah,
studying, and there's no gap. I want to
yeah.
understand from you, Navin, I will come to you as well because after such a long gap, I want to understand how exactly is the feeling. So, Aman, let's start from you. Examinations, how is
Honestly, stats traumatized me for the first time I gave it. I failed it.
oh,
And then later on, during my retest, that is when, we had to gear back on things, and then that is when I passed during my second attempt. So you have multiple chances, as Rishmika mentioned that, if not once, I guess you have three chances. You can give repeats and then you can pass with your repeat. So IMB is very considerate, guys. It is not like, we are just moving on from a specific code or something. And apart from that, I like the flexibility of the examinations
okay.
because not everybody can come and give. As Abhinav might be currently working, right? He might go out for a field trip during a weekend, and if the exams had a clash, he has an option to opt out of giving exams. He still has three chances to go and reattempt those. So this is a very flexible program for people who might be thinking that if my school examinations, my college examinations, and university examinations, both of them are clashing, so you have a solution here, right? And yeah, subjects are going to be hard, but what I have to say is if you survive through them, you have a very huge upside potential, right? You get to learn a lot out of it. And yeah, that is what I had to say.
Wow. I don't know why I'm kind of getting nervous listening to all this, and I'm very keen to know your experience, Abhinav, going back to studies after almost 10 years. You said, you tell me how was your experience with the examinations?
So, I would say, I would start by saying that, we are the reason we suffer. So you have every opportunity to, you know, learn. And, the thing is, and I would say, shout out to Aman because I didn't know that he was the founder also or the co-founder of College High. So that is also one of the note-taking things where, there are notes. And then like Reshmi, because she's from the academy itself, they have those, there's a lot of notes and everything going around. And by God's grace, I've not failed any subject yet. I've maintained a decent CGPA for what it is. But, you know, the anxiety is still there, right? Because it's like we have it on the weekend. So see, as a working professional, my only joy is during the weekend. So first of all, 2 days on the weekend, and I think what's more, I think it might have changed, but as far as I know, the exams happen is like once a day, right? In here, you have three exams in one day, from morning 9 a.m. till or till the evening 5. So you are in the exam center. So, it's not just about the fact that, it's objective based. Yes, it is objective based. But if you go ahead and you're like, हो जाएगा, नहीं होता है. Right? Yeah, you have to study. You have to study. If you don't study, you're not going to pass. But, the added pressure is there where, it's like three exams in a row, right? So you are in the exam center. And then there are other people as well who are as nervous as you. So it kind of does bounce off. But then, like Aman and Reshmika said, you do have chances to go back. And you also have chances like, so for example, let's say you gave an exam, right? For me, I gave stats. I barely passed. But let's say I want to get better grades in, right? I can appear for a re-examination and I can study and I can go and I can give a re-examination for an improvement of score. And there is no like timeline, right? So it's like if I want to do it in like term five, so be it. So I think that is one of the things. But yes, you know, exam jab aata hai, everyone becomes nervous, right? All the chats, they kind of light up and they're like, because there's some people, right, who are there like, what is the syllabus, right? I'm like, yeah. So, it's there, but overall, you know, the high that you get once the results come out and you're like, oh my God, thank God, thank God. That that feeling, I think that's one of the best ones that you'll get here.
It's really nice, when you're talking about all these things, okay, with such a diverse age group of students, this particular feeling of eventually passing, okay, that particular feeling would be the same. And it is really nice. Now, I have one question coming from our YouTube chat. Student is saying that I'm enrolled in a college for BCom where attendance is compulsory and is taken very seriously. Will I be able to cope up with this particular course? Uh, Rashmika, you are a
Yes,
student,
yeah.
so would you be able to answer this?
Yes, of course, you can easily do it. Even in my case, attendance is compulsory. 80% of minimum attendance is required for my other degree, and I'm having it. It's actually doable in nature because the lucky thing, BVDB doesn't have any attendance criteria. Like it is quite flexible. Everything here is flexible. Watching from the modules, attending the live sessions, attending the exam, everything is flexible. So you can plan accordingly to maintain your attendance and your BBADB over here. It's very easy to do, I can say, because once you're focused and having a productive day and ready to work a little hard, it's definitely doable.
It is doable. It is absolutely doable. So if you've got the answer, it is very much doable. So 30th June is the deadline up till 3 p.m. and make sure that you are applying for it. Uh, I just have one question now in regards with again the practicality of it. When you say that it is doable, okay, I want to understand, Rashmika, what exactly are the hours are we looking forward to put every week? If is there a particular number of hours which we have, which a student or let's say a working professional has to look at? How many hours do you put in here every week?
Ideally, just 12 to 15 hours is more enough just to go through the lectures and have notes. But to intake and process it and do it as a project, another additional 5 to 6 hours needed. But projects are seasonal, you just get it all in once, and the rest of the time you can focus back to your studies. But that is the ideal case. Let me talk the reality that as a student, having piling up modules is a normal thing because a lot of things will happen. You will have your exam in your other degree, so you have to prepare for that. So a lot of things will happen. In that case, you have to just work a little more hard to cover the backlogs and work upon it. So as I said, it's up to you. You have to prepare your schedule and work on it. But it is quite easy to do if you are productive in nature. Because as I said, you have to schedule. Scheduling is the key, I can say, because at the initial days when I enrolled into two programs, I was really struggling a lot. I don't know which one to prioritize because everything feels so urgent for me. But then I learned the art how to prioritize these things. So that's how things work. At initial days, it will be quite struggling. So every night will be a day for you. So you have to work upon and figure out which way is working out for you.
All right, so this is around 15 to 20 hours a week is what we are talking
Yeah.
about. So let's say if somebody who's very diligent and want to kind of maintain 3 to 4 hours a day, it's still a little excess. 2 to 3 hours, I think, is doable for everyone. I think that is something which is a doable time. So people who are looking at, you know, I want to make sure that I get into it. 2 to 3 hours is what is looking here when it comes to uh, you know the kind of time consuming program it is. Now, I want to understand, you are all, kind of experienced this particular program. You have spoken to your peers as well. Uh, Rashmika, tell me, from a student perspective, if a student asks you that what kind of student should apply for this program, what are the things they have to keep in mind, or the quality they need to be need to be prepared for, or things we need to be prepared for, what kind of students should apply for this program from a student perspective?
Yeah, I can say academically any kind can apply. But talking from a personality wise, a person who has self discipline, because the program is quite flexible, so you have to use the flexibility in a profitable manner. So, person with self discipline and consistency can always go for this BPADB. That's because the course is quite, even the subjects are in the commerce stream. We have quite a lot of science students because we have taught everything from the fundamentals. For me, I'm a non-technical student. Website development was a very hard chapter for me, but then it was taught from the basics. So anyone from the academic can pursue this because it is open to all and it is taught from the fundamentals. But who has self-discipline and consistency to use the flexibility in a profitable way can always choose PBDB.
Okay, so the student has to be self-disciplined. The student have to have, self-motivated, and someone who's looking forward to achieve a little bit more than just a traditional degree are someone who would be able to do, but
Of course,
something
you
which,
need consistency as well because modules will pile up if not.
okay, modules will pile up. But something which I think I would like to add in there, that if you are a student who wants to do a little bit more or want to challenge yourself,
Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
then this is definitely a program which would give you what you're looking out for. Definitely, it would give you an edge over the others because of the peer group, because of the faculty, because of what you learn might not get really covered in a traditional or the other degrees. What you would be learning here. Okay. Now let's look at, we know which kind of student should apply from a student perspective. Now let's look at somebody who's an entrepreneur himself. What do you think, Aman? What kind of students who are more entrepreneurial, what kind of students should apply?
So, I mean, genuinely who loves to build things. I mean, I understand the fact that not everybody would come with a perspective of getting or building their own startups. But in the age of 2026, hiring happens on, I feel hiring is shifting from talent and experience over like anything else, right? Now, if you have something to prove that you're currently building, so pretty much if you are very much interested into learning, into building new stuff, there are a good amount of platforms here that would support you into building your own startup or getting into roles that actually matter in the upcoming future. So if you want to build for the future in a more forward perspective, then this is a pretty good degree for you. This will give you a lot of opportunities, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure that student campus founders, 6 people got shortlisted for the incubation year, right? So you get more perspectives and more opportunities to build better. That is what I have to say. If you are a passionate person, if you want to build something of your own, this is a very good place to be. And you will find a lot of mentors all along the way who will stick with you in the upcoming future also. I do have a personal mentor that is helping me shape my startup, and I met him in IIM Bangalore. Right? So you have the opportunities and the gates open. You just have to utilize them, as Avinav said.
Yes, Avinav. Tell me, as working professional, what exactly you feel what aspirants should be applying for practically.
So, I think if at any point in your thing, right, and because my career path has been very untraditional. So, I was not able to complete my degree for, various reasons. So if you are at that point and you're like, you want to restart it, uh, you know, just go for it. Because at a certain point, you know, you have all the information that you need right now. At the end of the day, whatever decision you take, the success and the failure is yours. No one has any say in that. No one will come and put food on your table. But in terms of the degree, it will help you if you are that kind of a person who is needs a bit of a bit of discipline as well, because I think something that was not touched is that we have weekly modules and those have deadlines. We have deadlines, right? So we have deadlines of assignments and everything. So if you are like that, right? Because you have flexibility, yes, that is its greatest strength, but it can also be a weakness, for people, right? We procrastinate a lot. If given the choice, people will like, just coast. But the fact that there are deadlines, you know, and I think that keeps most people in line. At least it has. So if you are someone who's not continued, who has not finished your degree, just go for it. At the end of the day, you know, entrepreneur का course है, entrepreneurship का course है. Ambiguity is something that is always there. So just join, and then like you said, mentioned before as well, right? If you don't like it, exit at year one, and if you like it, stay till year three and get your degree.
All right. I think we have had a very good perspective from all three of us, a student, an entrepreneur, and somebody who's in the workforce and working corporate. Outcome for this one is again the same, that this particular program is for people who want a little bit more, who wants to push their boundaries, who wants to learn from the best. It's not that the other colleges or universities would not be able to kind of give you degrees. They can, but after a certain point in your career, or possibly at the juncture you are in, you really kind of ask for more. Okay, you want to do something practical. You want to do that particular challenge of possibly doing an entrepreneur, thing with zero, capital, or 250 rupees. All these things kind of develops skills for you as an individual, which would definitely make you as an individual a lot more better in terms of a better entrepreneur, a better person, employable, and somebody as an individual who would be able to do well, because you will be up for challenge. So this is the program. I hope this particular session which we did, the Campus Insider, was helpful. If you feel it was good, please make sure you mention it in the comment. Again, I'm repeating, the deadline is the 30th of June up till 3 p.m. The examination for the entrance test will be happening on the 26th of July. And for all the working professionals here who are just like Abhinav, looking at possibly completing degree and want to go, be prepared. That's exactly what you do when you go for an entrance test. You be prepared, right? So we have test prep, which IMS does. We have test series specifically for the IIM Bangalore DBE. We will be tagging it there. Make sure you practice it. Make sure you do well. And 26th July it is, the entrance test, and 30th June up till 3 p.m. All the best if you are applying. And if you have any questions, please mention it in the comment box. I will make sure that I answer that for you. And with this, I just want to thank you, Abhinav, for taking out time, Aman and Rashmika, from your schedule, doing this for us, giving insights. And I'm very happy that we got the other perspectives. Last year when I had a word with, I had only students, somebody who was running, just doing this particular business, only this degree, was not having a professional, having an entrepreneur, and again a student. It kind of gives me or my students a perspective which will help them decide better. So with this, I would like to thank you all again, and thank you so much, audience, for watching it. And stay tuned, because we will be coming up with something more exciting in the next 2 weeks. So make sure you subscribe, and for any questions, just mention it in the comment box. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day ahead.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, guys.
Bye.
And if you guys are still live, I just wanted to point out one more thing. So our professors are all from the professors who have taught for the past 10, 15 years. They are MBA, they are the professors